Entire White House is one giant grift. Donald Trump and his friends are in power in order to use their access to government to make money. It stinks, and we should get to the bottom of it.
You don't think you should get to the bottom of it, Kevin?
Wow, it sounds like that guy has Trump derangement syndrome.
What's going on, everyone? I hope you're enjoying your Easter and making some beautiful memories with your loved ones. Whether you're hunting for eggs with the kids or just soaking in the blessings of the day, take a moment to appreciate the incredible gift we've all received through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Now let's get into today's story, because things just got really interesting on cable news. Kevin O'Leary, yes, Mr. Wonderful himself, ended up on Don Lemon's show, and let's just say it didn't go the way Don hoped. Lemon tried his absolute hardest to corner O'Leary into saying that Donald Trump was involved in some sort of insider trading scheme, all because Trump made a post on Truth Social suggesting it was a good time to buy, and then just hours later announced a tariff pause that sent markets soaring. Don was reaching like a gymnast, but instead of scoring some scandalous confession, he got schooled hard. Kevin O'Leary didn't flinch. He broke down the difference between public cheerleading and actual insider trading and exposed how flimsy the whole accusation really was. If anything, Don Lemon came off like he was still stuck in 2018, desperately searching for a gotcha moment that just wasn't there. The truth? This wasn't some shadowy scheme. It was a very public, very obvious post that anyone could have read and acted on. Not exactly the makings of a secret conspiracy. Let's watch how Kevin O'Leary keeps his cool and lays out the reality while Don Lemon tries, unsuccessfully, to turn up the heat. Let's go.
That shorted the market.
What say you? I mean, look, CNBC is serious. You're on CNBC with the Shark Tank. These are some serious questions. And look, everyone, I think people are saying investigate. It certainly is questionable when you look at these things. What do you think of it?
Well, look, if you participate in insider trading, you have information the overall market doesn't have, and you actually trade on it, you go to jail. That's what happens. So that's been happening long before the Trump administration, and it'll happen long after he's gone. You just can't do that. So if these allegations come, and they're obviously speculations, and if this has happened, I'm all for. People have to follow the law on this stuff. I mean, it's unfair to do that, and if they did it, they will suffer the legal consequences. He's speculating, though. Both these reporters are speculating. They don't know. I mean, let's see what happens.
It's not concerning to you at all? You have no concern about this? I mean, look,
I don't, because if you're so stupid to do this, you deserve to go to jail. That's, it's like
I don't mean to deserve to go to jail, Kevin. I mean, you have no concern that there is some evidence, or at least it does seem suspicious. I mean, even Chris Murphy is saying that. Chris Murphy is saying, you're talking about insider trading accusations. This is a bit long, but I want to play it for you and then get your response. Here it is.
I have questions about the tariff announcements today. Who benefited and who made money? And this should matter to you too, because this could be an enormous scam. What we know is that about 9:30 today, Trump posts on social media that people should buy. It's a good time to buy. And then 3 hours later, guess what? He announces that there's going to be a 90-day suspension of many of the tariffs. Predictably, the market, which had been crashing, shoots up, and anyone who made investments early today likely made a lot of money. And so the question is, who close to Trump knew that he was going to suspend the tariffs? Which of his Mar-a-Lago friends or his billionaire advisors were able to capitalize on that inside information? Why did Trump send out that post to his supporters earlier in the day? The bottom line is that the chaotic nature of this tariff policy, with Trump's position changing every single hour, gives ample opportunity for any individual who has early access to information about the White House's change in position to make boatloads of money, either by investing at the right time or pulling their money out of the market at the right time. This entire White House is one giant grift. Donald Trump and his friends are in power in order to use their access to government to make money. It stinks, and we should get to the bottom of it.
You don't think you should get to the bottom of it, Kevin?
Wow, it sounds like that guy has Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, let me get this right. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just going to walk you through what he said happened. Trump posts globally, good time to buy. so everybody knows, hypothetically, because it's not hiding anything. And then the market goes up. Just as likely it goes down. I mean, every day the volatility has been absolutely extraordinary. But he already told the whole world to buy. And then, according to this guy, everybody buys. Where's the insider trading? I don't get it.
You have no problem with a president telling people it's time to buy? I mean, do you think that that is appropriate for a president to say?
What I heard was a
buy?
president that was a cheerleader for America. That's what I heard. Now, look, I understand.
Well, hang on, Kevin. Hold on.
50%.
Hold on. Hang on, Kevin. Hold on. Just 1 second. I'm going to let you get it out. Can we just put the tweet back up of what Donald Trump, let's put it up, what he said. No, the one where he said it's a good time to buy. He put up a tweet that said, it is a good time to buy. It's not like a cheerleader. He's telling people to go buy, Kevin. Come on, man.
Yeah, he's telling people to go buy the American index. What's the president's supposed to do that?
I really do understand where some of this frustration is coming from. Truly. When you've spent years being bombarded with media headlines warning that Donald Trump is the root of all chaos, it's easy to fall into this mental loop where every single thing he says or does is viewed with extreme suspicion. So yeah, if you've been soaking in that narrative long enough, something as simple as him posting, "It's a good time to buy" on social media might immediately feel like some sort of shadowy scheme to rig the system. But at some point, we've got to step back and ask, are we analyzing situations based on evidence or just reacting out of habit? Because here's the reality. This wasn't some secret note passed under the table at a billionaires club. This was a public message on Truth Social, accessible to anyone with internet. No backdoor deals, no code language, just a tweet, out in the open. How does that qualify as insider trading? Now, if you hate Trump, fine, I get it. You might see that post and immediately think, he's up to something. But let's be honest, that's not about legality, that's about personal bias. And if every interpretation is filtered through that lens, then we're no longer dealing in facts. We're stuck in ideology. We're not having conversations anymore. We're just throwing stones. And let's not pretend this kind of speculation hasn't been going on for years now. At this point, the anti-Trump narrative has become a machine of its own, feeding off every headline, every post, every gesture. But here's the problem. That level of paranoia makes it impossible to recognize when something is just normal, like a public statement encouraging confidence in the economy. And honestly, I think most people are starting to see through it. Even major news networks didn't chase this insider trading angle for long, because they knew there wasn't much substance there. They let it go and moved on, but not Don Lemon. He's still clinging to it like it's his big gotcha moment. Everyone else packed up and left the room, but he's still standing there, convinced he's on the verge of a bombshell. Meanwhile, Kevin O'Leary's sitting across from him, calm as ever, practically rolling his eyes, and rightfully so. He didn't just dodge the accusation, he dismantled it point by point, like someone who's been through this routine one too many times. So, while some are still obsessing over a single Trump tweet, the rest of us are ready to move on. And trust me, there's a lot more to this story. Let's get back into the conversation and see how it all unfolds from here.
A cheerleader. He knows there's a lot of volatility. He's telling them, look, the market's corrected 20% and it's a good time to buy. You know, look, Don, the one thing I know is 50% of the population has Trump derangement syndrome, and that's not going to change. And every day they parse everything, and it's the same thing. Let's throw this guy back in jail. I get it, but we should be spending our time worried about the country, not about throwing Trump in jail all the time. They already tried that last year, or last 4 years. It didn't work. The guy's the president of the United States. Get over it. And then in 3.5 years, he won't be. But my goodness, what a waste of energy. I mean, that guy had.
I don't think anybody's saying throw him in jail, Kevin. I just think they're saying and maybe it could be the people around him. But
you're asking me what I think. I think it's just it's just total speculation. And there's so much noise out there. This is just more noise and kind of irrelevant as far as I'm concerned.
You think it's irrelevant if the president if there was some manipulation of the stock market? It's not like we haven't seen that before. That
I don't think he's manipulating the stock market. I think he's driving policy, particularly on China, with extraordinary tariffs, and it's causing a lot of angst around the world, not just domestically. And he's saying to everybody, look, hang in there. I'm trying to get something done that no one's been able to do, and there's going to be volatility. And you should be optimistic on America. That's my read of it. And, so no, I am not. I don't think that there's this speculation on insider trading has much traction to it. But I listen, insider trading is a federal offense. And if you do it, you suffer the consequences. But I don't see it here.
This is Trump in the Oval Office yesterday, even though you said it doesn't, you don't have an issue with it, bragging about how rich he made his friends and the people on Wall Street. In the meantime, the people on Main Street are like, what the fuck, man? We've lost a ton of money and we are living paycheck to paycheck. Here it is in the Oval Office.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad, because he's in financials. I've always been following.
Not a bit cringe, considering a lot of folks are watching us. If you're in the chat and you're watching us, did you make $900 million?
I'm helping you with your Trump derangement syndrome. Let me interpret.
I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. Trust me, I'm not. And again, listen, I'm not a Democrat, so don't even try it. I don't have Trump derangement, but I am a realist. I have eyes and ears.
He's celebrating entrepreneurship. These are individuals that obviously had positions in the indexes, in the markets, as I do. I've been watching my net worth vary by 20%, some days 5% in an hour, up and down. And I understand why that's happening. I've also learned in my life, you can't time the market. If you missed that upside yesterday, you basically left, 4.5% on the table. You're not going to get back maybe. So it's really a crazy time. And I agree with that. But trying to tie insider trading to market volatility, Don, I love you, honey, sweetie, poopsie, but it ain't gonna happen. None of this stuff has any teeth, any traction, and right. I don't even think it'll get investigated because it's so obvious what happens here.
Kevin, sweetie, dearie, I'm just asking the questions. I mean, look, when you get major news,
I'm answering you. No, it doesn't bother me, and I don't think there's anything important here. That's what I think.
All right, pumpkin. All right, so let's.
Wait, did Don Lemon actually just claim he's not a Democrat? That might be the biggest plot twist of the year. And I say that with a straight face. Because if Don Lemon isn't a Democrat, then I'm Santa Claus. Let's be real. He spent the better part of the last decade parroting every progressive talking point CNN could script. But now he wants us to believe he's just a neutral observer? Come on, Don. Now let's pivot for a moment. Let's talk about something that's far more important than whether Don's got a D or an I next to his name. Money. Specifically, how much of it our elected officials have, and how suspiciously fast they seem to be stacking it. Let's do a little math, shall we? A U.S. senator or a representative makes around $174,000 per year. Now, that's a decent salary, no doubt about it, but it shouldn't land you on the Forbes list. So why is it that when you look at the financial disclosures of these lawmakers, it looks like they hit the jackpot? I dug into the list of the wealthiest members of Congress, and what I found should blow your mind. At the top of the list, you've got names like Rick Scott, who co-founded HCA, one of the largest hospital chains in America. Then there's Darrell Issa, who got rich by developing car anti-theft tech back in the day. And Mark Warner, he made his fortune with early investments in telecom. All of that makes sense. They had business ventures long before they stepped into Congress. But then we hit number 9, Nancy Pelosi. And suddenly, the picture gets fuzzy. Very fuzzy. According to financial disclosures, Pelosi's net worth is somewhere around $285 million, that's right, nearly $300 million. And how did she supposedly amass that fortune? Well, the official explanation is her husband, Paul Pelosi, made savvy investments in real estate and venture capital. Sounds nice on paper. But if you've been paying attention, you know there's more to the story. Take 2022, for example. Nancy and Paul dropped over $1 million on NVIDIA call options just days before Congress voted on a semiconductor bill, one that directly impacted NVIDIA's business. And just 2 years later, in 2024, Paul Pelosi dumped $500,000 worth of Visa stock right before the Department of Justice slapped Visa with an antitrust lawsuit. Now ask yourself, how does he keep getting so lucky? Because if it's all just elite level intuition and market savvy, then the guy should be managing everyone's retirement portfolio. But let's not stop there. The real question is, why aren't these trades being investigated more seriously? Is it because Nancy Pelosi wields enormous political power? Is it because Congress protects its own? And before anyone jumps in, yes, this isn't just about Pelosi or the Democrats. I want every single lawmaker, Republican, Democrat, Independent, to be held accountable. I don't care which side of the aisle you sit on. If you're trading stocks with insider knowledge, you should be investigated, prosecuted, and stripped of your position. Because here's the thing. We elect these people to represent us, not to turn their time in office into a private hedge fund. So Don Lemon, instead of obsessing over whether Trump's Truth Social post constitutes insider trading, which, for the record, it clearly doesn't, maybe direct your energy somewhere productive. How about looking into the institutional corruption that's been staring us in the face for decades? What do you all think? Does Trump tweeting it's a good time to buy equal a federal crime? Or is Don Lemon just grasping at straws to stay relevant? And more importantly, do you support an across-the-board investigation into every member of Congress's stock trades? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read all of them. And, as always, thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me. You guys truly are the best viewers on the internet. I hope you had an amazing Easter with your families. Never forget, Jesus loves you. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and I'll see you on the next one. This is the common thread. And we don't look away.